Palestine and Turkey have an historic relations throughout the century. Especially nowadays, latest coup attempt in Turkey and Palestinian issue, two countries show strong solidarity. By the time Israel-Turkey reconciliation proceeds, we talk all these issues with Palestinians' top diplomat, Foreign Minister Malki, and he answered TRT World questions. Mr. Minister, welcome to Turkey. First of all, I would like to ask your comments on recent coup attempt in Turkey.
Well, the fact that I'm here today, just, to show solidarity and support is really answering your question. That on the eve of the 15th of July, we were extremely worried, surprised, that something like that could have really happened in a country like Turkey, where we thought that, it took it a big distance from military coup, and that the achievements that were made on the democratic track were, of course, had closed totally any possibility for this kind of military coup, in Turkey, and that's why we were taken by completely surprise, and we were extremely worried because we didn't expect that. We stayed the whole night really watching television, learning about the different developments. We were praying that things will go very well for the people, and so when we saw the call by the president on the small mobile phone, just asking the people to go to the streets, to the squares, etc., and then we felt that things will be under control. And really, it was until the first hours of that day, on the 16th, when we were assured by our people through the contacts with their counterparts, especially the intelligence, that things were under control. And so, we felt that we should express where our heart is. And exactly, this is really was clear through a phone call that I made to my good friend Maulud, the intelligence head, to his counterpart, the president, etc. And that was really very important, to get the assurances. And then, of course, we continued, following the developments, always offering, our limited resources, to the service of Turkey, if any time Turkey really needs anything from us. And so when the time was right, I came here in order really just to reflect through my presence, the expression of solidarity and support, not only of my leadership and my government, but also all the Palestinian people.
As we all know, the Palestinian people, Palestinian nation is resisting for Israeli occupation for many years. So did you put in empathy with Turkish people, especially on the night of July 15?
Yesterday when I visited the parliament and I met with the speaker, and then they took me for a tour to see where the planes hit the building. And I heard something very important from the staff that were explaining to me. They said, look, we learned from you. Over the years, we have been seeing, how the Palestinian people were resisting the Israeli occupation, going out to the streets and facing the Israeli army, etc., etc. When the time come for us, we remembered what we have seen, and we decided just to take up the streets in the same way that you, the Palestinians, were doing over the years and years, resisting the Israeli occupation. And so this really adds another bond between Turkey and Palestine. It's not only that we share history together, and we went through different situations together, and where we feel always that we are fully supported by Turkey, government and people, to the Palestinian cause, not only politically but also economically, not only the government but also the people. You can feel that all the time when you go to the street and you say, I'm a Palestinian. My God, you can imagine the reaction of whoever, being, taxi driver, being, a person working in a restaurant, being, in a hotel, everywhere. They always react immediately in showing their overwhelmed kind of feeling, for Palestine and for the Palestinian people. And we know that. It's not something that we don't know. Every Palestinian knows that very well, the feeling of the Turks, and the Turkish people. And that's why, for us, that was very important. And that's why, when I heard yesterday that connection between, how the Turks, went out to the streets facing the coup attempt, and connected that to how we, resisted the occupation, that really impressed me very much. Now, obviously, if I can really draw any kind of conclusions immediately, first of all, it is very important that, your leaders have shown strong leadership and commitment, and strong power. And this is very important because at very important minutes and times, you need leaders to be there and to show leadership. Secondly, there was strong belief, in God, and that God, is very supportive and, providing all this kind of support. Three, that, the people were all, behind, the leadership. They wanted to protect democracy. They wanted to protect what they have achieved. And they wanted to protect, the people that they have elected. And this is really important. So the connection between leaders and people was clear in that night. And when you look at it, that's extremely important. And fourthly, when you see how this itself, evolved later, it's very important that, people decided that they don't want to live in besieged by this moment. They left it behind, and when I go and today I was really walking in the streets, I went to a mall, etc. People are living their normal life, and this is really very important. You don't become besieged, hostage to a moment. You learn from it, you leave it behind, and you look at the future. And this is really the lessons that anyone could really learn from that particular moment, that particular night, and how things were evolving in Turkey. I believe that you should really be proud of this part of history that you have really written as a nation. And you should be proud because many others around the world will be learning from your experience.
What would you like to say about Turkey's international aid to Gaza? The second ship will be departing before Eid al-Adha. So reconstructing Gaza and all other places in Palestine. What would you like to say about that?
I do remember about 2 years ago, we had a conference in Cairo for the reconstruction of Gaza. And Turkey was present there, where they committed themselves to provide $250 million, in support for the reconstruction of Gaza. And so Turkey has been very active in doing so. Even, yesterday in the joint press conference, with my colleague and friend Maulud, he said that even Turkey might overpass that number, the $250 million. Which means that Turkey gives great attention to the suffering of the people in Gaza and the need for providing humanitarian assistance, not only humanitarian assistance, but also the contribution to development in terms of infrastructure. And we as Palestinian Authority, Palestinian leadership, and the State of Palestine and government, we look positively to this kind of commitment from Turkey. Of course, the first ship arrived during the Eid al-Fitr, and now the second ship is being associated with Eid al-Adha, which is really very important, connection, for the people in Gaza. We appreciate that. Yesterday, when I met with His Excellency the Prime Minister, I told him it's very important that, when you, as Turkey, want to enter into this kind of projects of infrastructure in Gaza, it's very important for the success of the project, for the public relation of the project, that you should coordinate with the Palestinian Authority in order for us, to get the maximum benefit of that project. That's very important. Now, Turkey does not only work in Gaza. You know that Turkey, through its development arm, TICA, is working in other parts of Palestine, in the West Bank, even in East Jerusalem. And I reminded also His Excellency the Prime Minister yesterday that the situation in Jerusalem, occupied Jerusalem, is very dangerous, because in that particular part where Israel is trying to impose and create different realities, to change the Muslim, Christian, Arab character of the city into the Jewish character, by destroying, such Muslim characters and trying to impose and build Jewish characters. They are demolishing Palestinian homes, they are killing people, they are building new Israeli settlements, they are invading into Al-Haram al-Sharif, Al-Aqsa Mosque, they are allowing settlers to enter every day to desecrate the holy site. Even they are allowing, Jewish settlers to pray inside the Al-Haram al-Sharif, Al-Aqsa Mosque at the time when they are preventing Muslims from praying. That is very dangerous. And so, yes, I'm not saying that to minimize the importance of Gaza, but also I want also to emphasize the importance of East Jerusalem. And that, we should put more attention as Muslim countries, as countries who are seeking justice to Palestine, that more attention should be given to East Jerusalem. And we have agreed with Maulud yesterday that we will help them to identify different projects, in Jerusalem, in order for TICA, on behalf of Turkish government and people, will be able to promote and to develop projects there. So, all in all, we are satisfied with that type of relationship. We would like to go to do more. We have agreed to hold the first session of the joint ministerial committee, Turkish-Palestinian Ministerial Committee, headed by the two foreign ministers in Palestine before the end of the year. So Maulud Shawish Oglo will be heading the Turkish delegation of different ministries coming to Ramallah, where we will hold the first joint ministerial committee. We will discuss all type of cooperation projects in all areas, in all spheres, including private sector development, joint projects, etc., etc. And I'm very hopeful that what we have agreed yesterday, will help very much to promote the type of relationship that we both countries are eager, to see.
Do you think that Turkey-Israel reconciliation will affect two-state solution and as well as Middle East peace process in favor of Palestine?
Look, this is really an internal decision of Turkey. If Turkey wants to normalize relation with Iceland, it's up to Turkey to decide. If Turkey wants to normalize the relation with Israel, it's up to Turkey to decide. Yes, maybe there is a certain sensitivity, because of the problem that we have with Israel, that you ask the question. But it is totally an issue, an internal issue of Turkey to decide with whom they want to have a relationship, and we cannot interfere at all. And we respect that decision. But at the same time, yes, we would see the added value of that type of normalization, because the normalization with Israel will give Turkey the opportunity to be able to provide better services and humanitarian assistance to the besieged Gaza Strip. Without having that normalization of relations with Israel, then Israel won't allow Turkey to be able to send the first ship and the second ship, and even also to promote the developmental projects in Gaza. So yes, you need that normalization in order for you as Turkey to be able to do what you want to do, in Gaza. So this is really something that it's really conditional at that point, and we don't mind to see that, Turkey, in order for it to be able to be in Gaza and to provide that type of relationship, that has to pay a price, meaning, normalizing a relation with Israel, then, it is a decision that we respect that decision, and we would like very much, in exchange of that, to closely working with Turkey, in identifying the projects in Gaza, in facilitating, their work in Gaza, but also in doing other projects in Jerusalem, as we have said, or in other parts of the West Bank. So the mere fact that we have decided to organize the first meeting of the Joint Ministerial Committee, in Ramallah, it will help us very much to identify the type of projects, to prioritize where we should really do work, and to coordinate all these type of activities, being in Gaza or being, in East Jerusalem.
Do you foresee the unity government in Palestine anytime soon?
Look, the government that I am part of it is called the National Consensus Government. It's a government that was formed based on agreement between Fatah and Hamas. Based on that agreement, the government was formed, and we are operating and functioning. So it is a first step towards normalization of the relations between Fatah and Hamas, the current government. The current government is the outcome of the understanding between Fatah and Hamas. Is it enough? Absolutely not. Should we really work in order really to betterly, develop that relationship? Yes, of course. And that's why, there were a few rounds of discussions and talks between Fatah and Hamas in Doha, Qatar, under the auspices of Qatar, and with full backing from Turkey. And we are very hopeful that such meetings, in Doha, will provide us, the type of ingredients that will allow us to move from the national consensus government into a national unity government. And the moment that we will move into a national unity government, then we will be able to call for elections, both presidential and parliamentary. I think, we are very close to that. We are very hopeful, and Doha, and the Qataris have really invited us again to go to Doha. I believe that the delegations will be in Doha very soon to resume their discussions. The pressure is high on them that, not to leave Doha without an agreement. And so we are, hopeful. Now, our government has called for local government elections, municipality elections on 8th of October. And Hamas has agreed to participate, not only in Gaza, but also in the West Bank. This is also a very good omen. And it reflects that the conditions are much better than before, that if we will conduct such elections, local government elections, successfully, this will open up a great opportunity for us to succeed on the discussions on the formation of the national unity government and the convening of the national elections.
What is the level of threat from Israel against Palestine right now?
Look, the current Israeli government is totally against the two-state solution. Not only, it's their mindset, but also in terms of policies, actions, and even public statements. They are not shy, to say that they are against the two-state solution. Starting from Netanyahu, the prime minister, and going through, most of the ministers in the Israeli government. So the problem of the issue of the two-state solution is not with us, is with Israel. We have been asking the international community to ask Israel to say publicly that they are in favor of two-state solution. I don't hear it. Netanyahu will never say that he is in favor of two-state solution, because he knows that the moment that he says he is in favor of two-state solution, his coalition government will collapse. because, you know, the Israeli coalition government is composed of parties who are totally against the two-state solution. So the problem of the two-state solution is with Israel, not with us. The problem with the two-state solution is with the international community too. Why? Because the international community did not do that much, you know, to see that the two-state solution is being respected and accepted by all parties. That the international community did not invest in enough, that the two-state solution is being adhered by everybody else's. We all know that the only game in town is the two-state solution. But the question is, have we done enough to make sure that the two-state solution is possible, is attainable, is applicable? No. Because why? Because the international community, they know that Israel does not want the two-state solution, and that's why they are not putting that much energy in promoting the two-state solution. But if we lose the two-state solution option, then what's the alternative? What's the alternative? Chaos, you know, in the territory, one-state solution, you know, an apartheid. That should be also discussed, you know, publicly and courageously by the international community. The international community are afraid and they are shy. And I tell them that you are afraid and shy as international community. You should be courageous in order really to ask Israel in their eyes and tell them, do you support the two-state solution? If you support the two-state, say it publicly. And let us start talking about how to implement that, you know, on the ground. That's really the real problem. This is really what we fear. And that's why, you know, the problem is not only with Israel, because everybody knows that Israel is against. The problem is also with the international community, unfortunately.
And level of threats from Israel, any attack?
There's no trust. There is no trust whatsoever. You know, go to the territory and you see on the ground, you know, how Israel behaves. There is no trust whatsoever. You know, there is completely mistrust between the two parties. What Israel does, you know, does not allow us to think even how to trust these people. Because what they do is, the intention of Israel is how to replace us. Not to live next to us or with us, but how to replace us. You know, they want to close their eyes and the next day that we disappear. They want to change the name of the cities, the villages, the streets, because it reminds them that this area is Palestinian Arab. To that level, you know, they have this kind of, you know, negation to the existence of the Palestinians and the Palestinian rights. So the trust doesn't exist, and that's why any possible negotiations without providing minimum trust between the parties, you know, is a negotiations that is doomed to fail. And so the international community has to know, start trying to build trust in order really to prepare for a possible negotiations if they want to eliminate that problem that has existed for the last, you know, 70 years.
Mr. Minister Malki, thank you for joining us.